Hello everybody, once again here to IndySportsCrew.com and another Monday night reaction and another very happy Monday night reaction after the Colts' stunning, thrilling, exhilarating win in overtime at Tennessee over the Titans 19-13, and the Colts now in second place in the AFC South as they move to 4-3. Yes, that's a winning record for the Colts, first time since 2010, and a guy named Peyton Manning was here quarterbacking the Horseshoes. But let's start with this game in Tennessee, and you have to start with the end, basically, and that's the unbelievable run that Vic Ballard had on that screen pass from Andrew Luck to seal the deal as he launched himself basically from the 4-yard line, spinning, hurling himself, reaching the ball out, hits the pylon for the touchdown. You know, that play in itself was just amazing, but just think about how lucky the Colts were. You know, it was a play-action pass. They thought they'd had it open up, and that linebacker sniffed it out. Luck threw it just in time to get past him, and then it was all Ballard from there as he took it to the house. Had some blockers out there, just made an unbelievable play, individual athletic play there at the end to basically leap from the 4-yard line, as I said, to get that ball into the end zone and win the game on the road. First road win this season for the Colts, so that's a pretty big deal for a young team and a team that's starting to come together and to get that win on the road. And like we talked about before, there was a 5-game stretch that we're in the middle of now, the Colts are in the middle of now, where they could really kind of put themselves at least in the mix for the playoffs. Not saying that they're a playoff caliber team, but the AFC is a little bit down right now. Everyone's kind of jumbled up there around 3-3, 4-3, 3-4. Everyone's kind of together. You could just at least find yourself in the mix, maybe get a couple breaks, find yourself in a wild card spot. But let's move on to a couple other points I wanted to get to, and the first thing is the offensive line play in overtime. And we'll get back to the offensive line in general as the game went along, but in overtime it was basically a ground and pound approach. They didn't want to make a big mistake in OT to let the Titans get the ball back quick, and it was Donald Brown on that offensive line, and most of the offensive line, and it was right over the center, right through the heart of that offensive line. They were just gashing the Tennessee Titans, who just didn't have an answer for it. They were getting yards in chunks, 8, 9, 10, 12 yards at a time. It was unbelievable, and it was a good thing to see. Now, they weren't that consistent throughout the game, but when the pressure was on and they needed some big plays, that offensive line stepped up and got it. Satelli played pretty well yesterday, had a stupid personal foul penalty that thought was going to cost the Colts for a little bit, but he came through with some pretty big plays. And like we said before, it seems like the offensive line is starting to get a little bit of cohesion, starting to gel a little bit, starting to play better the past couple of weeks. And then, honestly, this was one of the most complete team wins that the Colts have had all season. It is their 4th win of the year, but this was one of the few times they've really put together a full package. The defense played so well on the road, holding the Titans to just 13 points. They missed a field goal, so they give you a couple points back just like the Browns did, and when a team gives you some points back, you make them pay for it by winning that football game, and that's exactly what the Colts did. The defense hung around, kept the Titans at bay, kept the game tight, and then at the end, when in clutch time, the Colts offense shows that they can get points and when they have to. They go on 2 80-yard drives at the end of the game. They score once with just 3 minutes and 24 seconds to go to tie the game, and then they get the ball, first drive of overtime, and march down, get the game-winning touchdown with Vic Ballard and that offensive line doing a great job. And part of that's Andrew Luck. You know, he is a rookie, but man, he's so good in that 2-minute drill or in those clutch situations already. He's shown that he's capable of taking his team down the field to score touchdowns when they have to. And just another thing, you know, just the mindset of this team, you can see it growing just by their play on the field. You can see them starting to believe that they can go get wins in tight games. That was not the case last year. Obviously, you know, basically a whole new team, but for Colts fans out there, you watched last year, even if it was a tight game, you knew at the end they were going to find a way to lose it. And this team right now is starting to find ways to win football games, and that's what you're in the National Football League to do. That's what the league's all about, and that's what fans want to see is your team going out there and win football games. That's what the Colts are starting to do right now. Big game coming back here to Indy next week. They play the Dolphins coming up on Sunday, and Ryan Tannehill, the Dolphins quarterback, got nicked up a little bit in their last game against the Jets, so it's kind of iffy. I guess he'd probably be listed as probable or day-to-day at this point, But here's another chance. You're at home. If you can beat the Dolphins, who's a team, another team much like the Colts, who are playing much better this season than they did last year, but a team that you're on the same level as talent and as the same capabilities, and they have the same dreams. But if you can go 5-3 after this game, that's a huge step from where the Colts have been, especially since last season. Thanks for coming to IndySportsCrew.com, and thanks for checking out Monday Night Reaction, and we'll talk to you again next time.